Do I need to pull out the videos? Johnny's ready to talk. So yeah, I will stop her.
What do you mean by that? Videos of what?
A lot. It will ruin
He has
her
videos
life.
of her at the night of her DUI.
Alexis said, "We are suing you and Tamra. You will hear from our attorney." I was surprised that when I sent you that you didn't tell anybody in the group, like, wow, Alexis did actually start the suit.
She cleans up her act a little bit, then these things wouldn't happen, and I have nothing to do with either.
Welcome back to Celebrity News Addict. I'm so excited to get into the gossip we have for you today on all things RHOC. After this week's episode, which showed Shannon and Tamra at war over evidence that Alexis instigated the lawsuits against them back in 2018, we're now viewing John Janssen's current lawsuit against Shannon in a whole new light. Maybe Alexis is replacing Tamra as the ultimate villain of RHOC. In this video, we'll be diving into everything we know about the messy love triangle and lawsuits between John Janssen, Shannon, and Alexis. Plus, we'll cover Tamra's recent announcement that she has been diagnosed with autism and the incredibly unsupportive reaction from castmates Kelly Dodd, Gretchen Rossi, Vicki Gunvalson, and host of Juicy Scoop podcast, Heather McDonald. We have a lot to cover, including love triangles, Shannon's DUI, the outrageous $70,000 lawsuit, and how Tamra's diagnosis fits into this whole picture. There's so many twists and turns to this one, guys, so prepare yourselves for a wild ride. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask you a massive favour to please subscribe if you're new to this channel. I release new videos on reality TV news and behind the scenes drama every other week, and I'll be following this web of lies and lawsuits closely to make sure I bring you further updates as they happen. So please like this video, comment below what you want to see next, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to follow on with the messy, non-stop drama. So, this season of RHOC saw the return of two familiar faces, Alexis Bellino and Tamra Judge. And boy, has it been a headline-making, law-breaking season for these two. We touched on Tamra's legal battle with Ryan Boyajian and the potential of a class action being filed against her in our last video, but Tamra is not the only one wrapped up in legal troubles this season, as Alexis and her new fiancé, John Janssen, are raising charges against fellow castmate Shannon Beador after she accepted two so-called loans from John back in 2022 and 2023, when the two were together. To understand how we got here, we need to start with a quick recap of John's relationship with Alexis and Shannon. Let's start at the beginning. John and Shannon started dating back in 2019 and had an extremely tumultuous on-again, off-again relationship, which lasted 4 years until the couple finally called it quits in late 2022. Speaking on their relationship to People in July, Shannon alleged that after breaking up at the end of 2022, her and John reconciled for a couple of months in March 2023. She said, quote, "For about 6 months, he dated someone else and I dated someone else. But after that, we reconnected." She added, quote, "I think deep down, he and I both knew that it was never going to work. So I wouldn't say we were back together publicly, but we were together privately for about 6 months. But then things hit a dramatic end when Shannon was arrested for a DUI hit and run on 17th September 2023 after crashing her car into a planter box attached to a house after leaving John's home where the pair had been arguing. According to police records, Shannon had a 0.24 blood alcohol level, which is 3 times over the legal limit. She was booked on 2 misdemeanors and spent a few hours in jail where she was released on citation. Shannon was later sentenced to 3 years probation, 40 hours of community service, and a 9-month alcohol ban. Though John supported Shannon in the wake of her arrest, it seemed that this was the final straw in their messy relationship, and things were eventually over for good. At the time of the breakup, Shannon told People she was, quote, blindsided. But John explained that the split involved, quote, 2 really good people who couldn't make it work. But maybe John was just on the hunt for his next victim, as just 2 months later, John and Alexis met and quickly posted their newfound love all over social media. Alexis and Janssen first sparked romance rumours last year after they were introduced through mutual friends. After a short time seeing each other, the pair decided to go public with their relationship in November 2023, and they have been inundated with drama ever since. Reacting to the news of their very public and very quick relationship, Shannon was understandably shocked and upset. She spoke to Us Weekly saying, quote, "I don't know what's in John's head, because the last conversation I had with him, he said, 'I'm breaking ties with you because you've ruined my life and my family's by being so public.' And 6 weeks later, he is doing Oscar parties and red carpet interviews. Okay, Mr. Private. Clearly, nothing about his current situation is private, from his engagement through to his messy legal battles. Speaking of his engagement, in August of this year, after a whirlwind romance, John popped the question to Alexis in San Isidro Ranch, and the couple were engaged just 9 months after announcing their relationship, and less than a year after John broke up with Shannon. Celebrating their announcement, Alexis took to Instagram, sharing this post of the two together, alongside the caption, "On Cloud 9, celebrating 9 months of love and laughter, and looking forward to my forever with you. Every moment together has been a gift. I am so in love with you and the beautiful life we're building together." And the answer is 1,000,000% yes. But this fairy tale was about to get messy, as shortly after their engagement, it was announced that Alexis would return to RHOC for season 18, so she and Shannon would be filming together for the first time. And, conveniently, time back on the TV also meant time for Alexis's new man to file a lawsuit against Shannon, just like her ex-husband did. In March 2024, just 2 days before his statute of limitations ran out to raise a claim against Shannon, John slapped her with a lawsuit of $75,000 for breach of oral contract and promissory fraud, claiming that she had borrowed money from him twice for a facelift that she had never repaid. According to his court documents, John stated that he gave Shannon 2 loans, one for $40,000 in 2022 and another for $35,000 in 2023. For her part, Shannon insists this was a gift from her boyfriend when they were together. At first, Shannon allegedly said she would give Janssen back half of the $75,000, though she has since changed her mind as the season was filming, undoubtedly due to Alexis. In episode 12 of RHOC, which aired on September 26th, Shannon was filmed speaking to her daughter about the ordeal, saying, quote, "This John threatening lawsuit thing has friggin' spiraled. I offered to pay him all the money he wanted, but he wouldn't sign a settlement agreement where he wouldn't say bad things about me." She later revealed that she believed John had plans to blackmail her, saying, quote, "I feel as though I've hit rock bottom, and it feels like John wants to get me down there further, and I don't think I can get any lower." Although, maybe this isn't all John's doing, but Alexis, as she also had Shannon and Tamra sued by her ex-husband Jim Bellino back in 2018. Coming back to this lawsuit, Alexis spoke to Us Weekly about John's case against Shannon in September, where she said, quote, "Shannon wanted to not pay him the full amount. It was, I believe, a small down payment and then monthly installments, which he was not going to do. He doesn't want to have to get monthly installments from his ex." Alexis added, quote, "What a lot of people don't consider is that we'd been filming at this point for 3 or 4 months. And by the time the show airs, it would have been another 7 or 8 months. So any new lies that she would have wanted to concoct or bring out, he would have had a muzzle and never been able to speak the truth." But perhaps Alexis was actually just looking out for herself, not John, as in episode 6, Alexis shared that John had incriminating Ring doorbell footage of Shannon drunk and nearly running over his daughter from the night of her DUI back in September 2023. Alexis implied that they would be releasing this footage at a damaging time to destroy Shannon's reputation. I don't know about you, but it sounds like Alexis is the mastermind behind all of this to me, not John or Jim Bellino. Anyway, after finding out about these videos, Shannon revoked her offer to pay John back at all. Speaking on Watch What Happens Live in a recent interview on October 10th, Shannon confirmed to Andy Cohen that she had never signed a promissory note or agreed to pay back the money at the time she received it. She claimed that John had sent her an email a couple of days after already giving her the money, saying he wanted her to pay it back, something she had never agreed to, and she, quote, "went livid." Check this out.
People have questioned, Shannon, about the promissory note, because you did say last at this dinner that he sent you a note in some days after.
It's all semantics, and I never signed a promissory note, and that was never my intention.
But if there was an email saying this was a loan, does that make it?
I did not send him an email saying it was.
No, but did he send you an email?
He did. He sent me a promissory note 3 days or a couple days after he sent me the money. And he said, and I went livid, and he never brought it up again.
This feels to me like it has Alexis written all over it. However, Alexis continues to defend herself and her man, claiming she had, quote, "nothing to do with the lawsuit," and publicly rejecting Shannon's attempts to settle.
Odd that Alexis has been around 2 men that have sued Shannon. I would say, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but if she cleans up her act a little bit, then these things wouldn't happen. And I have nothing to do with either.
Alexis denies that she was involved at all, but she did send a cease and desist type letter to me, and I have it. So you did.
And with John's, I hate to say it, but I did tell him to settle when she offered $45,000. He's like, that's not enough. She owes me $75,000.
Alexis's non-involvement was further discredited on this Thursday's episode of RHOC, which aired on 17th of October. In this episode, Tamra and Shannon found themselves at war over Alexis and the lawsuits. Shannon said, quote, "I talked to Gina about that text that I found from 2018, where Alexis said, 'We are suing you and Tamra. You will hear from our attorney.' She added, quote, 'I was surprised that when I sent you that, you didn't tell anybody in the group. Like, wow, Alexis did actually start the suit.' Tamra, loyal to nothing but her paycheck, responded, quote, 'That's between you and her. But to me, this just proves that Alexis is behind this whole thing once again. Maybe fueled by jealousy over John's past relationship with Shannon, or maybe she just wants the money to fund her wedding. Who knows? But whatever it is, it's nasty.' Anyway, back to the timeline of events. After the news about the video clips that John held was released, the public slammed John and Alexis, accusing them of bullying Shannon. One user commented on Alexis's Instagram saying, quote, 'Having you return to RHOC with John as your partner is the nastiest and most tasteless move Bravo has ever made within all the franchises. The purposeful and intentional humiliation meant for another cast member in doing this puts the integrity and intention of the whole Housewife franchise in jeopardy.' While another added, quote, 'Being engaged to an extortionist and thinking you won is wild.' After receiving these comments, Alexis did admit that she regretted bringing up the DUI footage on camera. In an interview with Decider, she said, quote, 'I thought I spoke about the videos off camera. You think you do something, and then it's like, oh shoot, the cameras were rolling. I didn't even remember that. I told friends about them off camera, I thought. And so, it is what it is, but I don't really have any regrets, because the truth is the truth, and we have truth on our side.' Meanwhile, John felt the show misrepresented him, as he said, quote, 'What's so difficult is that it's like we're in a vortex where all of the hate is based on things that aren't true, and me having no voice has been very difficult.' But it's not only the public weighing in on Alexis and John's unbelievable behaviour and crazy whirlwind romance. In fact, Alexis's ex-husband and surprise surprise, Tamra Judge, have also been quick to share their opinions too. During a recent appearance on the Sarah Fraser show, Jim expressed his concern about Alexis's new relationship, saying, quote, 'There shouldn't be a question of what anybody's motivation is. I hope that he is successful. I worry about Alexis, and I hope she protects her assets and makes him sign a prenup.' Although, I feel Jim's concerns may be misplaced, as Alexis is looking like the ringleader here to me. But perhaps his fears stem from something we saw of John during his relationship with Shannon, where she alleged that John didn't pay for anything and may be looking for a comfortable financial situation over true love. The $75,000 lawsuit and jumping between reality TV housewives would certainly suggest so. And John has already made it clear that he's not interested in signing a prenup, so we'll have to wait and see how this plays out for Alexis. Meanwhile, Tamra, never one to sugarcoat things, also offered up her 2 cents on the relationship, suggesting that John should follow Eddie's lead and stay out of the housewives' drama. In an interview with Page 6 on the virtual reality podcast on October 10th, she said, quote, 'As a man on any housewife show, when you're trying to get your point across and filming confessionals, it never lands right. My advice to any man is just be quiet. Take notes from Eddie. He does not want to get involved. He wants to diffuse the situation, walk out. Anyone else feel like A, it's too late for that, and B, this is probably a big dig at Ryan too for getting involved in the drama. So, while one lawsuit continues to play out for Shannon and John, Tamra also has not one but 2 of her own to contend with, as Jen's boyfriend Ryan Boyajian filed a cease and desist against her for slander and defamation, and housewives Kelly Dodd, Vicki Gunvalson, Gretchen Rossi, Jill Zarin, and even Teresa Giudice are threatening a class action against her. And as things are heating up for Tamra, she decided to add yet more fuel to the fire with another conveniently timed bombshell this week. In the 2 T's in a Pod podcast with Teddy Mellencamp, Tamra revealed that she has recently been diagnosed as being, quote, on the spectrum. Check this out.
Did my first therapy session.
What?
Let's just say I found out something pretty big about myself that I didn't know.
Now I need to know, like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I am on the spectrum.
Oh my gosh, Tam.
Don't make me cry.
Following Tamra's announcement, the internet erupted with both support and skepticism. Former castmate Kelly Dodd and comedian Heather McDonald publicly questioned the diagnosis, suggesting it was a tactic to excuse her behaviour on the show and maybe get her out of her pending legal battles. Check out these clips.
Everybody's just like joking and like not believing Tamra. You guys, Tamra has finally been diagnosed as being on the asshole spectrum, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but being on the asshole spectrum, it is protected by the American Disabilities Act, and therefore it's my understanding she can never be fired by Bravo.
You're 60 years old, and all of a sudden now you had somebody diagnose you as being on the spectrum? What a crock of bullshit. These psychiatrists, you can get any doctor to say any kind of bullshit. Is that her defense now for her bad behavior?
And it's another day, another half apology for Tamra, as in response to the controversy, Tamra quickly turned off comments on her podcast and issued yet another public statement on her Instagram story, where she wrote, quote, "Even though I check almost all the boxes, it's an ongoing evaluation, and I will continue to figure out more through therapy. Thank you for all your DMs. Not sure I'm ready for the ride." And following this statement, well-known influencer and longtime autism advocate Zack Peter took to Instagram to share his thoughts. In his video, Zack said, quote, "I like Tamra. I've met her a number of times, and this really is challenging for me because it feels like she's absolving herself of accountability by attaching herself to the autism diagnosis without fully understanding autism." The comments on this video were an absolute riot. Vicki Gunvalson chimed in on the discussion, saying, quote, "This is disgusting and shame on her. She's looking for attention and sympathy. It's no different than Brooks saying he had cancer for sympathy and lying to me. She needs psychological help and needs to stop making a mockery of being on the spectrum or having autism. Hashtag fake tears. Hashtag get help." Gretchen also couldn't resist getting involved as she commented, quote, "It's a major insult and you and I both know it's her way of trying to gain sympathy from an audience that hates her right now. She is setting up her next year storyline with this BS. She is using this as an excuse for all her horrible behaviour over the years, which includes naked wasted, and does this while crying crocodile tears. So let's get this straight. She has no empathy for others, but all of a sudden can have empathy for herself in that moment. What a gross and failed attempt to try and excuse her behaviour to try to get the audience to feel sorry for her. She makes my stomach turn. Hashtag clown." As the criticism kept rolling in, Tamra was ready with yet another statement on Instagram, where she tried to clarify a couple of things about her diagnosis. She said, quote, "I started therapy because this year had been really hard on me. I started feeling really insecure, I was having intrusive thoughts, and I didn't want to leave my house unless I had to. I even considered just being admitted into a mental health facility." She added, "In my conversations with my therapist, who I've known for years, we talked about a lot over the course of 2 hours, and she told me that many of the things about me, like how I process information, my sensory issues, my social anxiety, my aversion to eye contact with new people, my not wanting to be out of my routine, were all signs of being on the spectrum." Tamra then acknowledged that on the spectrum is, quote, "such a broad term," adding, "I don't really understand it fully, and my therapist told me more evaluation was needed." She continued, "But when I sat down at the mic to record my podcast 15 minutes later, and my head was spinning from what she had said, I had no time to process things or even talk to my family. I was just back at work, and I was so emotional, I just blurted it out." After the podcast episode went live, Tamra said she felt the urge to take it down, but she decided against it. But now, after receiving all of the backlash she's faced, she's not sure this was the right decision. Her statement continued, quote, "I just want to take people through the journey with me as I've always done, but I realize now I spoke too soon publicly, and that processing this with such an onslaught of negative comments has been horrible." She explained, "If you know me, you know I don't like to look weak or play the victim. I also hate labels, just as much as I hate excuses. But I'm working on myself, not a TV show. so, to be a better person for me and the people around me. She concluded, quote, I have past trauma that is deep and painful. This is something I've suppressed for 15 years, but I'm finally getting the help I need and I'm proud of myself for that. So as much as I appreciate the amazing people who reached out, I think it's best to move forward more privately until I get to a better mental space. My mental health is just not strong enough where I can be judged and hated on right now. Yes, I'm admitting I'm weak, and I'm okay with that right now. So that's the timeline of events from both John, Alexis and Shannon's lawsuit and Tamra's diagnosis up until the date of recording on October 17th, though I'm sure there's so much more still to come out on both these stories. What do you guys think? Is Alexis the ultimate RHOC villain and the ringleader behind the lawsuits? Is Tamra's apology really genuine? I appreciate that getting hate like this is horrible, and no one should feel ganged up on, especially if they are legitimately facing struggles with diagnoses and therapy. But it does just feel like convenient timing for Tamra to get diagnosed with autism, and it's a great way for her to excuse a load of awful behaviour and escape a lawsuit or two. I'd love to hear your opinions, so sound off in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more celebrity news and updates on these cases as they happen. Thanks for watching.